listening to the radio, I think.
I'm gonna make this screen smaller.
Which screen?
This screen.
Uh-oh.
Take the full screen on the left.
There we go.
This one, this one, this one.
Okay, we've got our signal, but we're not. Performing out there. There we are. We got sound in the room, in the showroom. Ooh. What's that? Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to For the Love of Words. I'm hearing my sound through the computer, which is really weird. I guess I can't help that. Oh, all right. Anyway, it's is it April? Last Tuesday of April. I don't know how to mute mine. It's a laptop. It's not mine. Where is it? Okay.
Bottom left.
Bottom left. Oh, there it is. I see it. I'm hearing myself through the computer.
That's way better.
I guess I can't help that. Oh, all right. Anyway, it's last Tuesday of April. I don't know how to mute mine.
Uh-oh. Bottom left.
Bottom left.
That was,
Oh, there it is. I see it. I'm hearing myself through the computer.
that's way better.
I guess I can't help that.
No, I'm not a prepper.
With cheesies.
With
and
cheesies.
Beaches.
And beaches.
I don't know about you guys. I don't know about you guys.
We missed that one.
we missed that one. It wasn't a good poem anyway, really. Okay, no worries. No, maybe at the end. So I don't know about you guys. I've been going a bit crazy at home, and so I start posting silly things on Facebook. Any of you doing that? Yeah. So the other day I was reminded of the Valdi. Was doing a show with Eugene and another fellow that had dreads. So we bought him a fake dreadlock wig, and I was emceeing. And so Valdi did one number with this dreadlock wig, and he didn't want it, so I took it home. And so I just put on my fake dreadlocks and my Wilma Flintstone robe, and I sent this note out to my friends in Facebook land. I am just something that got into your breakfast cereal, in your morning repast. One day you were pouring out your cornflakes, and there, in your freshly washed bowl, is a little creature, furry-eyed, peak-eared, tail waggling. It's a bowl weasel, a haggard hipster. This is not a happy moment for your breakfast cereal. There's a creature in my cereal. You cry, there's a creature in my cornflakes. I've missed you all so much. Big hugs from this bold weasel to you. That's the kind of thing I do when I'm locked in the house too long. One more for you. Where did it go? Oh yeah, this was an imagining of the, the story of Newport when Bob went electric and Pete Seeger threatened to cut the wires. And of course, Bob had been hanging out with Joan Baez. So I was kind of imagining how it might have affected Joan's career. Even though her numbers had started to dive, that didn't necessarily mean her demise. It was not a foregone conclusion. It was just an illusion. Dear Joni would lead the Fulton charge from now on. Even though she made love to the traveling huckster, the dyed-in-the-wool folk singer, word slinger, he came straight out of the country, but she was a vegan. She should have seen the trouble coming. Pete Seeger was watching as the axe began to fall. Whoops. That's not the finished version, Bill. Wrong page, wrong page. Suddenly I'm so nervous when I'm doing it on this medium, like I never feel that when we're live. That's okay. All right, I'll read you the unedited. And they will kill, kill, kill you, rock and roll. Yes, they will kill, kill, kill you, rock and roll. They lined up on all sides, booing this and cheering that. Their loyalties divided, their icon crumbling. She was a dyed-in-the-wool folk singer. She fell for the huckster, the bedraggled word slinger. She was a vegan. There was trouble coming. Worst of all, Pete Seeger would be watching as the axe began to fall. Oh, obviously unfinished. I never get that nervous. How's everybody out there?
Good.
It's so.
Hey, Mark, somebody's trying to get in. Mark,
What's that?
is there somebody trying to get in?
Is somebody trying to get in?
Yeah.
Oh, there we are. Oh, sorry.
My friend just told me that
Yep,
the
sorry.
host has to let him in.
Thank you. Sorry. I wasn't watching up the right corner of the screen.
Ah, there's a man.
Well, there's two more. It's crazy.
Gentlemen. Welcome, John, if you're there.
The
You
guy
really
that-
want to start with this? You settled, John? You can't hear us yet.
Almost.
Okay, I really,
Bottom left corner of your screen, there's a mute button.
It's connecting.
I think John's got audio now.
You're in.
listening.
There we are. Hello.
Hey, John.
Hey. Hi, everybody.
John was the first person to invite me for tonight, so I bless him for that.
Oh, thank you. All blessings happily received.
So here's my opener. I'm really lowering the tone this time. Right off the internet. But very current. This COVID is raging. My life is a mess. Oh, just a minute. I have to put on my costume.
See, this is something we don't regularly get.
Okay. This is my gender change. I can't read in a high voice, but I can put on a lady's scarf. The COVID is raging. My life is a mess. I live in pajamas and I don't have to dress. I'm in isolation, just staying at home, and will give my last dollar to be free to roam. I'm seriously at risk, or that's what they say, telling me to stay in and not go out each day. But in my head, I'm so young. Though my license reveals I'm 70 plus senior, but that's not how it feels. When I run out of food and deliveries are late, I have to buy groceries between 7 and 8. So early in the morning, I head out to restock and discover a lineup that winds around the block. Social distancing seniors, all 6 feet apart, make me wonder just when I became an old fart. My meals are repetitive, a lot like my gas. And I'm tired of discussing why Trump is an ass. My latest new outfit is gloves and a mask, and I'm starting to wonder if I'm up to the task. I wash all my groceries, all fruit and meat and veg. Will additional precaution tip me over the edge? My beautiful brown hair has wide roots of gray. No hairdressers around to help wash them away. I've been talking to myself, now I'm answering back. Is it Monday or Friday? I've really lost track. I've stopped doing housework. It's weeks since I've dusted. I know without visitors, I'll never get busted. I FaceTime my friends and we group chat on Zoom and we try to pretend we're all in the same room. Thank God liquor stores are considered essential. Without daily drinks, that would drive us all mental. Every once in a while, it's good to reflect on what this all means and what we can expect. It's a time to be grateful for all that we've got, like a warm house and food that others have not. The bottom line here, by the time this all ends, is that we'll get through it with our family and friends. So even if your partner is a bit of a grump, you can really be grateful you're not married to Trump. So Helen will bring in a little more poetry later in the hour.
That was excellent.
Yeah, I thought it was really first class.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. Can't hear you, Bill. No. Technical support is needed.
Mm. So, John, are you up in Cal Bay?
Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Jeez, you had me there.
He's up, but he's not in Calgary.
No, I'm up. No, I came back last night.
Oh, his audio, what is his audio? Just hold on a sec.
Byron's coming in.
Well, 'cause he-
Hey,
Oh, how's that?
Hey, there's William.
Better?
How's that? Okay, sorry. Can we just finish, Bob? I asked if that was an original. John Hatfield said no. It wasn't.
I didn't say that.
Mine?
Yeah.
Original poem.
Mine was right off the internet.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Debbie.
Open session.
Okay, first I'm going to try to do something.
What's that?
First I'm going to try to do something.
Okay.
Does everybody see Bill?
Ah,
Yes.
dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Whoa.
There it is.
Good
Up
work.
close and live. And now how do I stop that?
When
Oh,
you get
geez.
back, stop.
We may be looking at him for the rest.
Oh,
Oh, there it is. Stop share. Okay.
oh.
That's better.
But I just thought, you had to see that. I mean, it's
Right,
not
thank
the
you,
same
Debbie.
without the visual.
Thank you.
Had such a time deciding what to read. And do you like my COVID hair? Pretty soon it's going to be right over my eyes. But I'm going to read from What We Talk About When We Talk About Love by Raymond Carver. It's a wonderful story, very complicated, comforting and upsetting and unsettling, but and I'm going to take terrible liberties with this work. I'm going to splice together bits and pieces to fit the time frame. I was on call that night, Nell said. It was May or maybe it was June. Terry and I had just sat down to dinner when the hospital called. There'd been this thing out on the interstate. Drunk kid, teenager, plowed his dad's pickup into this camper with this old couple in it. They were up in their mid-70s, that couple. The kid, 18, 19 something, he was DOA, taking the steering wheel through his sternum. The old couple, they were alive, you understand. I mean, just barely. But they had everything, multiple fractures, internal injuries, hemorrhaging, contusions, lacerations, the works. And they each of them had themselves concussions. They were in a bad way, believe me. And of course their age was 2 strikes against them. I'd say she was worse off than he was. Ruptured spleen, along with everything else. Both kneecaps broken. So we took the 2 of them up to the OR and worked like fuck on them for most of the night. They had these incredible reserves, those two. You see that once in a while. So we did everything that could be done. And towards morning, we're giving them a 50-50 chance, maybe less than that for her. So here they are, still alive the next morning. So, okay, we move them into the ICU, which is where they both keep plugging away at it for 2 weeks, hitting it better and better on all the scopes. So we transfer them out to their own room. I dropped in to see each of them every day, sometimes twice a day if I was up doing other calls. Anyway, caths and bandages head to foot, the both of them. You know, you've seen it in the movies. That's just the way they looked, just like in the movies. Little eye holes and nose holes and mouth holes. And she had to have her legs slung up on top of it. Well, the husband was very depressed for the longest time. Even after he found out that his wife was going to pull through, he was still very depressed. Not about the accident, though. I mean, the accident was one thing, but it wasn't everything. I'd get up to his mouth hole, you know, and he'd say, no, it wasn't the accident exactly, but it was because he couldn't see her through his eye holes. He said that was what was making him feel so bad. Can you imagine? I'm telling you, the man's heart was breaking because he couldn't turn his goddamn head and see his goddamn wife. Mel looked around the table and shook his head at what he was going to say. I mean, it was killing the old fart just because he couldn't look at the fucking woman.
There you have it.
Nicely
That
done.
was really good. I like that.
David Carver. And what was the out of which story? Sorry.
What do you mean?
What we talk about when we talk about love. And
right.
so not that long ago, Birdman, wonderful movie that I know John loves. It plays on this story.
Right. Gotcha. Thank you.
But if you love the movie, that's great. But wow, the story will knock your socks off.
And who played the lead in Birdman? Was it
Oh, now you're testing me.
Michael Keaton?
Michael Keaton.
Very good role for him. I didn't think he was an actor until I saw that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, I'd like to invite our host to read and thank him again for inviting us to this meeting. And first, I'd like to know if Shannon is sewing another uterus, though. What's she working on?
No, I'm not. It's a Mother's Day gift.
Oh, nice. It's a needle point?
Yeah.
Oh, neat. Of what?
It says "Go comb your face." It's an oft-used phrase my dad used to use for my mom when she wouldn't shut up.
Aha. Okay. We wouldn't get away with that today, would we, Mark?
Why are you asking me, Bill?
Because you're sitting there beside your partner.
Yeah, but you'll also notice he has no hair on his face.
Right. Mark, have you got something for us?
Yeah, I just wrote it in the last half an hour, Bill.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah. It's called Dairy Free. In the summer, we let the normally lackadaisical lactose free who jump on a trampoline we bought just for them as Shannon and I kick back, watching with delight to see which of them will jump the highest. It's the only freedom they know. In the cold of winter, I open my phone to look at pictures of relaxing lactates wearing two-piece swimsuits, sitting around a swimming pool, milk butter on their blemish-free skin.
Uh-oh.
And the second piece is gluten-free. Since everybody here except for Mary Gallagher and this Jay Jarman probably don't know that we have a bakery. So The other poem is called Gluten Free. Not much of a poem. We have always charged for gluten, and Shannon and I get annoyed at all the requests we've been getting. Gluten free, my ass.
I'm still yellow. I'm apparently yellow. That's a result of eating too much gluten. I'm showing up yellow today.
Oh,
Thank you, Mark. And fresh off the
Fresh off the press.
breadboard, as you'd say.
Yeah, we had somebody who asked us today about dairy free, and that
Dairy.
just got me thinking about things that are free.
Did you get hopping mad?
No.
There was a great Tom Waits on Letterman once, and he was joking about becoming involved in this political movement to free the glutens. Mr. Hadfield.
Oh, there's one thing about gluten-free I have to add here.
Greg, thank you, Greg. Sorry.
The first time I was walking through a grocery store, and I noticed out of the side of my eye the sign, and I thought it said gluten-free.
Well, it did, actually. Thank you for that. Yes, insightful comment, Greg.
Anytime.
Mr. Hadfield, we always torture you till the end, so why don't we throw you?
No, that's fine. I would like you to introduce my friend Jay Jarman down the bottom there. I don't know where he is.
Can we say hi? Jay's been to the showroom before, right?
Never on the Love of Words. No, I don't think he's ever been there.
I'm sorry, Jay. I was mistaking you for someone else. Hi, how are you?
Well, it's good to be aboard. Nice to see you folks. You're all up in Duncan?
I'm in South America right now.
We're in Duncan. Yeah. My apologies for mistaking you for someone with much less class.
Oh, not at all. No.
Anyway, so yes, we take turns reading, generally about 5 minutes, if you like, and John knows that well. And you can read about whatever you like, really.
Well,
to you and Mary are the only two new members, I think.
I'm going to let him go first.
Okay, that's gracious of you, I think. Jay?
I didn't know if you could see him, so.
Oh, yeah. No.
Okay, well, I better go get my 2-page story. It's just, I'll be right back.
Okay, while you're gone, we can talk about Byron's new glasses.
Byron got new glasses?
I'm just wondering if he can hear me, actually. We didn't say hello to him either.
Hello.
Hi,
I don't have anything ready to read.
Byron.
It's not your turn.
Byron, you just left a poem on Rachel's page this past week.
Yes. Fresh poem. You could read that one in a few minutes.
Yeah, the one about 6s and 9s.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Come on here. Come on, Byron.
Okay. Let me phase out and I'll see if I can find it on my other device.
Okay. Quiet the rabble down now. Jay is back.
Should I read this?
Yeah.
Sure, please do.
Did you have some other choice?
Well, no. I mean, I could, read this or recite a poem, but I'll read this. I got it right in front of me. I'll try and make it within the 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
It's called Nourish. Harrowing would not begin to describe what I have witnessed in the last month. To call it an ordeal would not only be an understatement, it would be an insult and disservice to my colleagues and patients. This is beyond the realm of anything I could have imagined. In 2012, I graduated in the top 5% of my class at Duke University School of Nursing. We were sought after by the most prestigious medical facilities in the country. I could have cherry-picked my dream job. My career path was set and I wanted to give back. Mom and Dad instilled a sense of altruism in myself and my twin sister, Karen. I grew up in Iowa, and the lore of New York beckoned. I filled a position at Elmhurst Hospital in Queens. Elmhurst is a great place to work. We serve a community with modest means. I envisioned a livelihood in nursing that would afford me an opportunity to contribute and to pursue another passion, writing. Until recently, the path forward was bright. Yesterday, I had a Zoom meeting with my family in Iowa. My parents, my sister, and my 2 nieces were in attendance. Seeing them on the screen did not make things easy. To a person, they all pleaded with me to throw in the towel and come back to Iowa. Dad said, "It's not like you need the money. We want you home." My youngest niece said, "Please come home, Aunt Emma. We miss you and we love you." I was torn, ridden with guilt no matter which way I turned. Over the last month, I have seen many people succumb to this horrible scourge, but I cannot bring myself to accept futility. Saving one life is immeasurably rewarding. By the time people arrive in ICU, the prospects are grim and hope is fleeting. Miraculously, I've seen a few people make a full recovery. This is as close to hell on earth as it gets. Don't think for one moment that I am whining or complaining. On the contrary, this is not about me. As far as I know, I am healthy. Emotionally, I am a wreck. Sleep is elusive. Shunning pharmaceuticals has always been my preference. Over the last week, I have relied on sleep aids in order to function at a safe level. Morale at Elmhurst has always been upbeat. Doctors, nurses, orderlies, housekeeping, and administration make this hospital hum like a well-oiled machine. Until lately, anger, frustration, fear, and futility have reared their ugly head. I am grappling with emotions that I didn't know existed. In a time when we should be pulling together, it is unfathomable to think this has been politicized. Sadly, it has. The extraneous parts of this that are being exploited for profit and political posturing are truly disgusting. In the face of calamity, the dark side of the human condition is costing lives. Okay, that's page 1. Blame and criticism are not, is my time up?
Well, you're good. Carry on.
Okay, blame and criticism are not the way forward in this pandemic. Why there is a shortage of personal protective equipment across the country is difficult to understand. Finger pointing and price gouging are not going to protect the people I work with. Makeshift equipment and improvised procedures are jeopardizing staff and patients. 11 people I work with in ICU have become infected. 2 are critical. 15 to 20% of staff have booked off sick. My suspicion is a goodly number of those people are risk adverse, opposed to a clinical diagnosis. Protecting their family is the priority. Before I start my shift, a rigorous series of inspections determine whether I am ready to enter the workplace. When I put on my gown, gloves, masks, and breathing apparatus, I envision the sartorial readiness of an astronaut. When I started writing this, I did not know where I was going to go. For therapeutic reasons, I had to vent, to tell a story, to share my heartache, and to bring you into the fold. Viscerally, I want you to be there with me. I want you to know, to feel, to have compassion, to be there as though it is you, your friend, or your dearest. The anguish is palpable. It has tested my strength and my weakness. Because it is bandied about so much, it almost sounds trite to say we are in this together. But we are, no exceptions. COVID-19 does not care who you are and what kind of person you are. It does not care about your station in life. Your ideological leanings and philosophical bent are of no concern to this virus. And most formidably, it does not care if you are human. When I go to work tomorrow, I want you to come with me. I want you on the front line with me. Forget the 24/7 media coverage of statistics and projections. Ignore the ignorant and feckless politicians that lack empathy. We are a team, you and me. We are there to fight the enemy and to bring love to our dying brothers and sisters. I know I can count on you. Nursing is my calling. I need you on the front lines with me to hold the hand of all the patients. Not limply, not overly tight, just enough pressure to convey caring, warmth, and love. When you have established that, I would like you to put your other hand on top of their hand in a clasping manner. Don't make it fleeting or unnecessarily prolonged. You will know the required duration. Your message from the heart will be delivered and your contribution will be immeasurable. The etymology of nurse is derived from Latin meaning to nourish. In our hour of need, there is no medical intervention that is greater than love. Thanks for listening.
Brilliant, Jay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's great to hear, especially now. And I mean, what I notice is that people are getting restless, and I suppose probably therefore more careless, right? It's it's such an odd state to be in, but it's good to hear from somebody on the front lines. Thank you.
Well, I don't think I could pull off being a woman for more than 2 pages.
Hey, if Bob can do it, you could do it.
Yeah. The hat's a nice touch.
The hat's a nice touch, yeah. Where are we going from here? Mr. Hadfield, are you ready for us?
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing Jay, and sorry I didn't recognize him as a newcomer.
No, that's all right. That's why I thought I'd bring it to your attention, so you wouldn't look like you're completely inept. Just kidding.
Only good friends could tell you
Yes. No, I know. I didn't mean anything by that. If I said something wrong, you can shoot me.
that. No.
Well, okay. As soon as I pull this up, you're all gonna disappear, so it don't matter. So here's the point. This is the most recent thing I've written. I've been writing a lot of songs, not a lot of prose for whatever reason, and so I thought, well, I'm gonna read a bit of Cap stories. Are we gonna go around? We just get one shot, or if I keep it short, then I can come back at another time. Let him come
Go
back.
ahead and do something short, and I'll pretend that we'll come back to you. How's that?
Okay. All right. This song is called "And So It Goes." I asked the driver to pull over. I stepped out of the car. Been down this road many a weary mile, and I might have come too far. It's so quiet on the shoulder, ain't a single passerby. The driver coughs, clears his throat, and looks up to the sky. And so it goes, and no one knows when you've reached the end of the road. No one knows, so I'll just suppose that that's the way it goes. And so it goes. This vehicle is old and worn and needs to be at rest. Feels like the arcing sun headed for the west. Leave this dark world to find its way, guided by the stars. The driver coughs, strikes a match, and lights the last cigar. And so it goes, and no one knows when you've reached the end of the road. No one knows, so I'll just suppose that that's the way it goes. So it goes. I watch the smoke hanging in the air, drift away in the sunset glare. I thank the world and tip my hat, and then it's gone, just like that. And so it goes, and no one knows when you've reached the end of the road. The end.
Thank you, John.
Very good, John.
Thank you. Sounds better with music, but I thought that's the newest bit of writing I've done. So
Nice. Thank you.
Well, it came across well without music.
wow, thank you, Jay.
Where have we been? Oh, I see Biron. He's got something in his hand there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if has everyone seen this? Did everyone see this photograph of can't see it. It's a photograph of Andrew French.
What?
Oh. Maybe we can check.
Is he clothed?
Oh yes. Anyway, yeah, I got up one morning and I saw this photograph, and there was a long shadow on the road, and it was like, they had obviously, Rachel and Andrew had, taken their coffee and decided to go out for a walk in the early morning, and they paused under a Japanese flowering cherry tree. and Rachel took a picture of Andrew directly underneath a sign, and the sign read Elks Lodge number 69. That's Duncan's branch. So then I decided to write this, which is I called New Miracle. A bard must transform the empirical into ballads both graceful and lyrical. So lovers entwined who have sixed and then nined will know love is not simply numerical.
I think Rachel switched it. There we are. That's beautiful. You know, the ones that I find particularly disturbing where Andrew's just gotten up and he's only covered by a blanket and he has a cup of coffee. And it's just, I don't know, it just disturbs me on some level I don't understand.
Probably spills that coffee, sometimes scalding hot.
I bet he does.
And then he needs first aid.
First aid. Mark, don't go there.
If you like, I could do two more limericks. I could do the one that I did for Mark and the one I did for Bill a long time ago.
Like my friend, we would love it. Go ahead.
Okay, so Marcus Primer, a baker, but this is called Soft Peaks. Marcus Primer, a baker by trade, had a helper, a doughy young maid. On his bread-making bench, he deflowered the wench. They've been meeting, it seems, to get laid. Okay. And then the one
happy ending.
I'm so glad that one took a lot of effort. Anyway, okay, Bill, do you remember this one, Bill?
No.
At a club run by Johnny Longevity, crooned a singer named Waylon Bill Levity. At the break, while I peed, those I spoke with agreed the best part of his act was its brevity. Which isn't true. I mean,
no disclaimers. No.
Funny though.
Well done.
There we go.
Mary, how are you feeling? Would you like to add something to the proceedings?
She's terrific.
She's smiling.
So
Mary, are you going to give us your microphone now?
It doesn't matter.
I'm muted. I can read something. I don't write things really. I don't know how to write things anymore except for really schmaltzy things that are innocuous that many people can read, and so they're really schmaltzy. Anyway, so this is just a thing that I was thinking today about my African violets, because I have all these African violets in my house. Well, so I finally found the food for my little African violets, and a good thing too. If I'm going to be inside all summer, I'll need flowers in my life. And now, buds, little awkward, wrinkly babies. They're really wrinkly. Like, they don't have any color yet. But give it a little time. I'll encourage them. I'll be around after all. No gallivanting for me this May of 2020. Except maybe to play a little COVID hooky for you vocab types. COVID hooky refers to the secret sneaking out of the house to catch a little sunlight and maybe a quick dip at the lake if no one's looking. Just like high school, except we're all adults in prison in our own houses. But hooky still sounds like a lot of fun. Man, usually summer bucket lists include adventures, like really adventures, like trekking all of the west coast of our island or trying 15 new flavors of ice cream, swimming in 2 oceans. That would be fun, but not this summer. This summer will be more like growing a prize-winning zucchini and eating it. Cleaning out all my closets and actually somehow getting rid of the boxes trying not to develop a beer belly, cooking for my family, and even cleaning up because I'm home to do it. Everything's just so small now. But the question is it small and cozy or just cramped? And I think that those little tiny violet buds, they need to come up. They need to eat those phosphate vits because I need their color in my life right now.
Oh, that's
Well
gorgeous.
done. Thank you.
Great.
So when they come out of the dirt, they're like albinos, and they don't have color.
They're really awkward. You can see, look. It's like wrinkly like a newborn. Like you can't even see. Okay. See, there's a bud.
Yes.
They're hidden away.
But it's going to be beautiful.
That which is hidden is always more beautiful.
Good. Thank you for sharing. That which is hidden. That's right.
I didn't come up with that.
I'd like, in the analogy of playing hooky, it's kind of good from our, sneaking out for fresh air. Sanity.
What do you do down there in Victoria, Mary?
Well, you don't run the wrong way around the park. If you run the wrong way around the park, you're going to get yelled at. I got yelled at and I remembered.
Are you a sensitive soul?
Just go there.
We all.
Like when you say run the wrong way around the park, you mean like in supermarkets now they have arrows saying which aisle you can go one way. Do they have the same thing in a park, like where you got to go a certain direction?
Yeah.
The parks, yeah.
Yeah. When you're jogging. It's not funny. It's horrible.
I don't think we have rules like that up here.
Oh, it's just for the city.
Oh, you're so free as a bird in Cowichan.
City rules, yeah. When I read that too, someone that had been in our theater group and moved to Victoria said she was in the grocery store and she yelled at somebody who came down the wrong way down the aisle. I thought, well, you're getting a bit tense, although I guess it's proper to observe the rules. But really, yelling at joggers and shoppers, I don't know. Jay, you would probably say, yes, give them shit. Go the right way. Thank you for sharing. And,
can we? Oh no, we haven't heard from John and Rachel and Andrew yet.
Thank you all over.
Helen.
And Helen.
Oh, Helen's got something too. John.
Can we have a smoke break?
Smoke break. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't smoke, but Andrew does.
Mr. Moa, are you with us?
I am indeed. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You hear me? Okay. I got to try something here that because there's an image that I'd like you to see, and I have a bit of a few lines that I wrote when I saw this image. So I'm just going to try to switch the. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Being cranes.
You good?
Cranes,
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay. So I just wrote a few lines here when I saw that. So I'd just like you to have that image in mind as I read this. As cranes come to rest on still water, delight in wonder. This simple image, its rhythmic grace, its perfect beauty. A poem stirs in my eyes, my heart, but with silence, its own most nature. All words are dull excess. To know the poem, I look again, and do not speak, but only gaze, with open heart, delight, and wonder. That's it.
Nice, thank you.
Nice, very nice.
Beautiful picture as well.
Yeah, isn't it beautiful? I have no idea who the photographer is. It's just something that appeared online, and I loved it, so I have it.
Could I have a word?
You may have a word.
That's called poetic ekphrasis. When you write something about a painting.
Say that word again, though.
Ekphrasis.
Could you spell it?
Oh, brother, a couple ways. EKPHRASIS. ekphrasis. So I've got a limerick about it. And
Uh-oh.
Of course you do.
John, when it comes to poetic ekphrasis, your works should be read by the masses. And let me amend that I fully intend to attend when you start giving classes.
Thank you.
You get it? Okay.
Well done. Nice, nice.
Okay.
Where were we? Helen.
Hi.
Well, she's a good name.
You look so funny.
Am I on? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I was reminded of an ancient, well, it seemed ancient, a rather old poem that I knew and quite liked at some point. I've forgotten how old it is, but it's by William Henry Davies. And it seems to kind of, well, I mean, it makes us, gives a better attitude to this current situation, you might say. And it also backs up David Suzuki's recent Idle Some More, in which the less we do, the less harmful we are in the world. So this is called Leisure, whatever your accent. What is this life if full of care? We have no time to stand and stare. No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. No time to see when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. No time to see in broad daylight streams full of stars like skies at night. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet how they dance. No time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. A poor life this, if full of care. We have no time to stand and stare. Hope you're doing a lot of staring lately.
Here.
Very good.
I have another little one which I'm told everybody's seen, but anyway, it was off the web. We were Googling. We were trying to Google some Black Death poems, but nothing very good.
If you haven't already watched it, watch the Ingmar Bergman film about the Black Death, The Seventh Seal. It's really lovely.
Lovely.
Actually, it is.
No,
It is. It's really lovely.
Black
it's
Death.
it's one of the best films ever made. It's a fine film.
Okay, I'll look it up again. I've seen it years ago. Anyway, this little bit is called In the Time of Pandemic, just published on March 16th this year. And the people stayed home, and they read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being and were still. And they listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows, and the people began to think differently. And the people were healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully as they had been healed.
Lovely.
That kind of ties into Guy Dauncey's new ecological something or other. Anyway, there's been a whole lot of earth-based stuff on the web this week, and everybody thinks we need to do things differently and not go back to normal. So,
is it possible?
Hopefully, it'll be a more healing time.
They're calling it the new normal. I call it the new abnormal.
The new abnormal, right? It would be rather abnormal to change, wouldn't it? But a good thing. Whoa, there come the lights. We're going to go.
Isn't it funny that, I mean, here we are. It's like maybe it's going to be what, or at least right now, it's like 4 or 5 weeks, and I mean, other people endure things that are, 40 years in prison, 20 years in prison, a year in prison, and here we are. It's a month, and we're whining.
We're enjoying it.
I think, yeah, over here, for me, it's pretty normal because I haven't slowed down. So it doesn't, in some ways, it doesn't feel like anything's changed. It's only when it comes to social things that I go, oh, yeah, because I can't go for coffee, you know.
You can go for coffee.
Well, sorry, I do go for coffee, but it's, I don't get to hug. You know, when you when you really like someone, when you've finished having coffee with them, you hug them. When you don't really like someone, you just you step away thinking, "Ah, fuck you."
Mark hugs me. He doesn't particularly like me.
Well, I feel really strange walking away and not hugging people.
Yes, it is
Like I'm
strange.
saying passive aggressive sort of. I don't really care for you.
Well, you can share in virtual hugs.
I think we need to learn lasso tricks so we can lasso someone and hug them on a rope.
Nice. Helen, you're kinkier than we know. I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really kinky right now because I'm just sewing up a storm, and we women who have stashed up, collections of fabric all our lives are totally vindicated now that the fabric stores are closed.
Absolutely, I'm with you.
And having, we suffer from something called fabric accumulation beyond life expectancy, FABLE. And COVID is sort of sorting out our FABLE problems. So it's just wonderful. It really is a positive situation.
Oh, beautiful creation. We also have, I was famously part of Bob and Helen's move, 40 feet to their garage suite. And in the end, we were a little behind, weren't we, Helen? So we started pelting Helen's bags of fabrics out the front window. It was really a dangerous situation.
That's an upper story.
Upper story, yeah, second story.
And roll down onto the front lawn.
If all this goes on for long enough, I can make a quilt for each of you.
Nice. We've got Mr. French, and also last month we did not. I usually ask Rachel, and thinking she'll say no, but she tells me last month she would have said yes. Hopefully she'll say yes this month and go after Andrew. How's that sound? Maybe. Don't commit right now.
Will she read a poem about a dog or a cat or something?
We don't know yet.
Let's get him out of here.
Oh.
All right, am I supposed to go?
Yeah, sorry, your turn, Mr. French.
Yeah, so I've been writing a lot, but long ones that don't really make sense. So this is one that kind of makes sense, but it's also kind of a bummer. So have fun.
That's okay.
I think of Sandra when I'm off on a tear, sipping bourbon straight, though I know it isn't good for me, and knowing the string will fray whenever I try to thread it. There's no method so imprecise as mine, and for this I'm much loved and nothing needs adjusting. So I let my arms fall to my side like a catatonic and contemplate the northern wind that invades her better moods. Alone in a room with knives and the man, Jim, and a call from down the hall telling her to calm down, to do away with all their sundowning until the end of a shift. I think of Sandra when I'm well beyond my capacity, wetting my lips for nothing to do, taking a shot liver mysticism as a niche that's mine to explore. The world is multifarious and everyone has their own confetti. Because see, I keep this collection of skeletons under the kitchen sink, and hers are the wonder of snowflakes dancing across the window on a summer's day, telling me to stop and marvel at the scenes we've seen countless times before, because my eyes are tethered to ingratitude, and my hand isn't bold enough to meet or greet Mount Brevoux. And while the starched-collared neighbors scoff at the exposed ankles of the psyche, NIMBY expresses itself in tunnels of dirt and finds no diamonds there at all. Reconciled to gourmet grocery stores, reality TV shows, and a south-facing life. I think of Sandra when I'm well beyond my capacity, far beyond wit and vulnerability. And even the view of the floral love seat and my own feet don't make much sense. And in the mood I'm in, it's just as well. A nod to unknowing, a giggle at the seriousness of strangers, case managers, home care workers, who plan a clear path, although it is not altogether within their understanding. She's there among the houses on acreage, sold cheap for the sake of proximity to the likes of her. Her soft and welcoming, mine all hard and angles, drunken fits, backwards, baseball caps, muscle shirts, name brand flip-flops, and manicured eyebrows. And Reishi wakes up before me, puts on the coffee, and waits patiently for a decent conversation. Still, I think of Sandra and my own etherealness, knowing clozapine is a afternoon treat to be taken before lunch, knowing quetiapine is to be taken before supper, and latazapine before bed, to do away with all the dreams for the sake of chemical sleep, comfortable, worthy of a stat or a footnote, as if we could all kill the great white beast by making her normal, ready to tackle the world with a part-time gig at Dollarama, a low-rent condo, and numbed existence. Bravo the psychiatrist who only pays visits on holidays and can claim double time. Bravo the case manager whose bulldog jowls only lit up when recounting how much her son makes in the private sector. Bravo the whole enterprise. Bravo how it is arranged and how it exercises its power. Shangri-La is surely on the horizon. It is April 13th, and despite a Monday, it is actually a Friday, worthy of bourbon, expanse, and excess. So I'll let whatever earnestness I have left be carried away with the trash man and go off on a tear, because why not? Because all the same, I make a meager attempt not to smell like a distillery the next time I see her and betray the holistic good, the exemplary wonder of rational movements. But bourbon and quetiapine will save neither of us. It's magnanimous love, empathy, and maybe compassion. But I'm well beyond that undertaking. Can't even spell the words without autocorrect, much less put it all into practice. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Nice.
Yes.
I love
What's that?
how you bring a kind of a sustained awareness you bring to your clients' lives, and just that you share that, having been in that position myself and worked in those populations. I really appreciate how you write about your people.
Hey.
A question. Is sundowning a relative of gaslighting? I wasn't sure how that was used.
No, Debbie knows about it. That's how I actually learned about it.
Debbie.
Yeah, it's a known phenomenon with people who have dementia getting more agitated at dusk.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it just has to do
like the witching hour.
Yes, exactly.
They feel
like children, really,
Wow.
Yeah, like children,
Like children. Greg is a child. That's right.
Hey, Bill?
Hi, Greg.
Yes?
Bill?
Thank you, Andrew. And you
turned into a creature from outer space, Bill.
Lovely partner. You set dresser there. Can you guys hear me?
No.
No, Bill, your voice is terribly distorted.
And
That's it for Bill.
can,
Hold on, he might have to come back in. Just watch the side. And see.
sure.
There he is.
Hello? Hello?
Oh,
We're back.
Oh,
It wasn't a
here you
time
are.
thing, was it, Mark? Because you're a member? You're still a
No.
member? No, you're not. Oh, okay. Thank you, Andrew. And hopefully Rachel didn't use that opportunity to escape. Did she?
well, there she is.
Her shoulder. Andrew looks frozen. Are you there?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Sorry, you froze from it. What have you got for us, Rachel?
Basically, I've wanted to read this one poem quite a bit. Every time we go to Ontario, this poem comes to mind to me, and I never have the courage to read it whenever we come back.
Did
Okay.
you hear Ted?
Was that Ted in the background? Okay, let me see if I can.
Ted yelling, "Yay, Rachel!" Yeah.
Thanks, Ted.
Compose yourself.
I just have to pull it up again.
I can see you across the street.
Ah! He's right over there behind us. Sorry, my device reloaded, so I just have to pull it up again. Okay, so this is a poem that I think about whenever we're in Ontario because they have a lot of creatures there that we don't exactly have here, like lynxes and porcupine and things like that. So it's sort of like a mantra that I say to myself. And the title of the poem is "We Want to See a Mammal." And it's by Elizabeth Bradfield. I think she's in Victoria, actually.
No.
We all want to see a mammal. Squirrels and snowshoe hares don't count. Voles don't count. Something preferably that could do us harm. There's a long list. Bear, moose, wolf, wolverine. Even porcupine would do. The quills, the yellow teeth and long claws. Beautiful here, peaks and avens, melt water running its braided course. But we want to see a mammal. Our day and our lives are incomplete without a mammal. The gaze of something unafraid that we're afraid of, meeting ours before it runs off. Linnaeus was called indecent when he named them. Plenty of other commonalities. Hare, live young, a proclivity to plot. But no, mammal, maman. Breasted and nippled and warm, warm, warm.
Lovely.
I love that.
That's it. I did it.
You did.
Good
And then some.
Mammals plot or
Plotting. Conniving mammals.
Plot. You said plot. Ooh, plotting. Wow.
Yeah.
We're stalling a little bit now. Did somebody else have a quick one they
the only person
wanted to
that's stalling.
add? I'm not sure what's happening with the feed, but it's changing. Who? No, shut up, you. Bob, or was it John? Wanted to add another quick attorney. Bob? Robert, are you there?
On mute.
Yeah.
I
Bill,
did-
I've got another piece that I can read.
It's John's turn. He
I
promised to
fear our.
Well,
Yeah, no, go ahead, John.
John Stevens says he has something else. He was pretty short there.
No, go ahead, John Stevens. I know Bob wanted to go again. You got something else, John Stevens?
That'd be
Hold it up.
Stevens,
Byron. Ekphrasis.
Mm-hmm. Bill, I've got I have a piece here that's actually I've timed it at 5 minutes. Is that going to be okay since I already had a couple?
Well, it's just that we're an hour in. So, but go ahead. We got time. Go ahead. Go ahead. I've got nothing. All right, John. Go ahead.
Okay. This is called footsie, and I've never read this before, so we'll just see how it goes. Late one August, some many years ago, I was visiting with a family at their cottage. Their daughter was a friend of mine, both of us in our late teens, and she just returned that day from a summer of work at an isolated place. After supper with that family, it was usual for some to gather at the dining room table for cards or a board game. That evening, the players gradually dwindled until only the daughter and I, my friend, continued. Our playful banter over the game developed under the table into an increasingly energetic game of footsie. As all retired to bed, and I don't at this time recall how, but I somehow contrived to remain in the main cottage that night instead of going to the boathouse where I usually would have slept. I don't believe that I was guided then by anything like a rational plan. I think rather that it was a matter of my instinctual following of an undeniable drive. Can you hear me all right still?
Yeah.
Okay, good. After all had been quiet for some time in the house, and it seemed safe to think that all were asleep, avoiding the known squeaky places across the floor, I found the door to my friend's bedroom, entered, and joined in an ecstatic welcome. Her warm, sweet fragrance rising from under the quilt as she lifted the bedding for me to enter. My hands and arms delighted in embrace at the warm, soft flesh of her back. Our deep, hungry kiss was a boundless release into one another's being, our dissolving into one. I must mention at this time that the interior walls of that cottage were very thin, and that immediately beside my friend's bedroom was her parents. My friend came to alert and whispered urgently, "My father!" The only possible hiding place and a slim chance at the best of times was behind the entrance door to her bedroom. Usually that door opened flat against the adjoining wall. A light came on in the hallway, the door sprung open, and my friend's father said abruptly, "Do you know where John is?" My friend, clever girl, covering her eyes against the sudden brightness, deflected the question with, "Oh, Dad, no, the light, please." As I stood in the narrow space behind that open door, my bare feet were splayed so the opening door might not bump into them and reveal my position. I was plastered against the wall. I was breathing only as much as was needed for survival, hoping to continue surviving. My immediate concern then was that the sounds of quantities of sweat dropping from my armpits and splashing on the floor around me would attract his attention. But it seems that did not happen. The door closed. I played statue for some considerable long time. Eventually, the tensions of those moments subsided, and never knowing whether my escape was observed from some dark corner of the place, I once again strategically avoided the known squeaky places across the floor, and as slowly, carefully, and quietly as I could, made my way to an undisputed but much colder bed. No word that I know of has been spoken until now of that little adventure. Sometimes on my rare visits back to that community, these many, many years later, when my friend and I happen to meet, and so far it has always been only among others, we look into one another in warmth and gentleness, with a bright hint of knowing and of mischief. I think that sometime I will visit my old friend again, and when it's just the two of us, I'll ask her, "Do you remember that time?" I think we will enjoy the memory and laugh. That's my story.
Excellent. Yeah, too bad Dad was in the next room, eh?
Yeah, that was a problem.
I think it would have had a different ending.
Yeah. Can't hear you, Bill.
Bill, yours is the only feed that is having difficulty.
Hello, is anybody out there? Difficulty. Yeah, mine came up with the internet connection being unstable, maybe meaning the Zoom is being overused right now, or who knows?
No, it's just you're overused.
Just you.
Hey.
I think you perhaps are unstable.
Yeah.
Unstable genius.
Such kind love.
I've kept the gloves off, but now we're getting an hour in.
No.
Well, I want to share.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I believe something's happening with the Zoom, though. Is anybody else hearing that signal interruption?
No.
You.
No.
Just here.
Yeah.
So you're right. I'm the unstable one. Well,
Is
go
it
ahead.
because there's two screens? Like there's the showroom screen and the Ted Cadillac screen?
Well, it doesn't really relate. Ted bumps the signal to YouTube, but I'm just watching Zoom right now, so I'm not
I
sure.
share my 30-second poem with you guys.
Yeah.
You sure can. Whoever you are, I can't see you.
Okay, here it goes.
Yeah.
It's about a raven.
Okay.
On this earth, in the sky, above the land called Haida-Gwaii, you'll always see the raven fly. You'll see him frolic. You'll see him dance. You'll marvel at his boastful prance. On the wind, in the trees, his antics never cease to please. He'll fool you once, he'll trick you twice. His artifice, a mere device. Through moss-laden forests and misty rain, the raven roams the sweet terrain. Raven, take me home to Haida-Gwaii, where nature speaks for you and I, to forever stay, where eagles soar and ravens play.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm just trying to iron out whatever technical difficulties I'm having. And John, did you have another?
I could actually, Jay and I used to drive cab back in Vancouver, and there's a part of the story here that he's mentioned, but not by his name, so you'll never know.
Well, I hope I don't recognize myself.
Good.
Oh, you probably
Good
won't.
thing you didn't tell us about it. Yeah.
No, I didn't want to tell it.
No, good.
Well, I don't know where I left off, but anyway, I'm going to just jump in. So there was the girl that I picked up in the riot, and she's got drugged, and I took her to my house and left her in my bedroom.
We remember that one?
With a whole bunch of sirens. Just a sec.
Is mine working? I think so.
John.
Good
Coming
start.
to take you away.
Whatever you do.
You see him looking out the window.
Yes, they're coming for John.
Be the neighborhood watch.
You knew they'd catch up with you, big guy.
It's like 6 fire trucks. I hope the building's not on fire.
Me too. Well, you better skedaddle, scoodle.
It's always unnerving when the sirens stop right where you are.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I lost my place. Just a sec. Sorry. So he's left this girl lying on his bed, and he's out driving, and he dropped off a fare, and he's not far from his house, and it's really bothering him that she's still passed out, and he hasn't heard anything. And of course, this is well before there was cell phones. So he goes back to the house. He's pulling up to the house for the second time this night. Inside is a very troubled girl starting to come round. He doesn't know she was sexually abused by her father as a teenager and she ran away. He doesn't know quite yet that she does some drugs to ease her pain. He doesn't realize he has a penchant for such wounded birds. All he does know is that he feels compelled to help. Both of them are moved by unconscious forces that are going to play out as this story unfolds. I know, I was there. She has been drugged with flunanitrazepam on the street that will soon become known as rope or roofies. It's now known as a date rape drug. They will find out about all this, but it's going to take some time. Seeing reality through one's filters can speed up cognition or retard it, depending. He lights a cigarette and listens to the cab radio for a while, thinking about what he's going to do with her. His first inclination is to get involved, but Harmon's rule number 3 states, do not, under any circumstances, get involved with a passenger's problems, unless, of course, you can make some money from them. The last bit is what he's thinking about. Is there some way he can make money from her troubles? $20 is a start. But then again, what's he doing thinking this way? What does that make him? A nefarious, sleazy-ass cabbie a la Harmon? He certainly ain't no prince. Should he be worried about the guy who drugged the girl? Would he be in some danger getting involved? The whole thing just kind of stinks. But he works at a street level too. He flicks the burning butt out the window and watches the amber explode like a sparkler and then fizzle out on the still wet road. He takes the keys out, picks up his trip sheet, and goes into the house. The party is still going full swing. There are even more people there than before. He doesn't see Howard straight away, so he avoids the crowd and heads up to his room to check on it. Is that long enough? Hear all this noise.
That was lovely. Thank you.
Okay.
Bob, did you have another one you wanted to share, did you say?
No, I was just encouraging John.
Oh, good.
Thanks.
And anybody missing something that they wanted to do?
I have another piece, but it's not mine.
Sorry?
I said
Yes,
I have
please
another
do.
piece, but
Please
it's not
do.
mine.
That's okay.
I have, how come I'm not, oh, I have another piece, but it's not mine.
Yes,
can
go
read
ahead. Go ahead, Mark.
It's Digging by Seamus Haney.
Ah.
Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests, snug as a gun. Under my window, a clean rasping sound when the spade sinks into gravelly ground. My father digging, I look down. Till his straining rump among the flower beds bends low, comes up 20 years away. Stooping in rhythm through potato drills where he was digging. The coarse boot nestled on the lug, the shaft, against the inside knee was levered firmly. He rooted out tall tops, buried the bright edge deep to scatter new potatoes that we picked, loving their cool hardness in our hands. By God, the old man could handle a spade, just like his old man. My grandfather cut more turf in a day than any other man on Toner's bog. Once I carried him milk in a bottle, corked sloppily with paper. He straightened up to drink it, then fell to right away, nicking and slicing, neatly leaving sods over his shoulder, going down and down for the good turf, digging. The cold smell of potato mold, the squelch and slap of soggy peat, the kerf cuts of an edge through living roots awaken in my head. But I've no spade to follow men like them. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests. I'll dig with it.
Nice.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Nice.
Thank you all. I'll read one to finish up if everybody's satisfied. Somebody is touching their computer a lot. It comes through on the mic.
It's John Steven.
Was that you, John?
Maybe he could put his microphone.
Mute your mic there, John.
Yeah.
Making all this crackling noise.
I'm sitting here perfectly still, not moving, and somebody
But you're
else.
holding your camera and adjust it all the time. It'd just be
holding your
safe
camera?
if you just mute your microphone.
Yeah, because every time the noise comes, your section lights up, so we know.
Yeah, your face lights up.
Someone is rubbing their dick on their microphone.
Hey,
Stop it.
What?
Come on now. Come on. It's all gone well till now. I was talking with a friend the other night, and this kind of came out of that. I was thinking about my connection to spirit, and I guess I'm kind of a dabbler, not quite a failed Christian, but certainly spirituality for me is like an all-night buffet. There's a little bit of, pantheistic potatoes, a little pagan panache, a little Zen Buddhism, some Christianity. It's all thrown in together. And I was trying to think of a time when I always connect to the spirit. And for me, what was a picture that came to me of being in the meadow where we rehearse for our Shakespeare festival. So we're outdoors in an orchard looking into a pasture, and sort of the connection to all the people and the thing that we're doing together to me is a deep spiritual experience. I don't know what this is called. Gazing across the meadow, searching for something, something there, something else. Can you guys hear me? We didn't turn my mic back on.
Yeah, we can
You're
hear-
good.
Okay. I felt it was a state of grace shining in the lovely faces. I'm kneeling there as if in prayer, feeling the sunshine, watching the sun go down. The trees singing quietly, don't chase the spirit. The spirit will run. Don't chase the spirit. Perhaps it's only found in the quiet moments. In the quiet moments, it might be found. And if we have conversation and you start to tell about yourself, you begin to tell, you start to laugh, and you start to listen to all the sounds that your heart has longed to hear. So don't chase the spirit. The spirit will run. Perhaps it's only found in the quiet moments. In the quiet moments, it might be found. For you, so many years running, so many years chasing things unknown, so many years searching for things you can't describe. When you sit still and you feel the breeze, the spirit may come slipping in and bring you to your knees. So don't chase the spirit will run. Don't chase the spirit. Perhaps it's only found in the quiet moments. In the quiet moments, it may be found. So thank you all for your contributions today. And I think something was funny was happening with my computer, but we managed to hear each other. And lovely. How about if we just go around and I'll say your name and you can wave goodbye and a couple last words. Mark and Shannon,
Yeah, we're here.
In the dark.
just say goodbye and wave if you like.
Bye.
Bye to Interwebland. John Hadfield, thank you.
Bye.
Bob and Helen, thank you.
Bye.
Jay, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Mary Gallagher, thanks for joining us. Your contributions, thanks. Andrew and Rachel Lena Twizzle, first time reading, yay. Deb, thank you. John Moe and Stephen, thanks, John. Biron Miller, Errol Nipley.
Thank you very much.
I hope to see, oh, well, I don't know when we get back to actual meetings, but
right.
I hope to see you again.
You, as in the royal you?
Well, Jay Jarman and Mary
Jay,
Gallagher.
Yes.
Mary.
Welcome
Nice
to our
to
new.
meet you
That
folks.
was really nice, the African violet piece.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that, Mary. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I look forward to finding out whether the plant commits suicide or whether,
Is it going to be a tragedy or a comedy?
they're always very close together.
It's too bright out there. And Jay, for that dose of reality, heartfelt, and best of luck. We're with you.
Mark, I have a confession to make. I've been tickling your nose with my cursor.
Whose nose? Whose nose are you tickling?
You know, it is one of the weird things of this medium is that you can focus intently upon one person and they have no idea that you're focused intensely on them.
Listen, I'm trying to end this meeting nicely. Don't get all weird on me. Thank you, everybody.
I've been fantasizing about you, Bill.
Yes, I know. The blue shirts.
Creepy.
Okay, let's try to end on a good note. Goodbye, everybody.
Good night. Good night.
Bye. Take care, everybody.
Oh, good night.
Oh, beautiful cat,
Bye,
Bob.
it says from longevity. Bye.
Bye.
Get down.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Oh, Mark, I knew he would go there. Oh, you're still there, bastard. I'll get you for this. I think haven't X'd out yet.
There's a woman rolling quarters on a table, a gentleman taking tickets at the door, and I'm slipping out tonight 'cause the moon is yellow bright, and I'm afraid that I don't love her anymore. I heard a song come on a speaker. It said something about slipping out the back or making a new plan. Some guy named Stan. I said, thank you, Paul, for keeping me on my track. I wish it was 1930 at the old Kentucky Derby and I was riding White Lightning off the bluff. 'Cause I need a racehorse and some old rusty spurs, 'cause I can't get away from her fast enough. Yeah. There's a woman stacking euro on a table and a man chopping wood outside the door. She said every room is sold, so I slept out in the cold, and it occurred to me I never slept better before. I found the perfect dirty barroom full of liars, cheats, and losers all around. Well, I said, gentlemen, hold your pistols. I'm just here to wet my whistle and forget that woman I left back in town. I wish it was 1930 at the old Kentucky Derby and I was riding White Lightning off the bluff. I need a racehorse and some old rusty spurs, 'cause I can't get away from her fast enough. Tell yourself a lie so many times you convince yourself that it's true. Well, I don't regret a single thing in my life, but I curse the day that I ran into you. I wish it was 1930 at the old Kentucky Derby and I was riding White Lightning real rough. I need a racehorse and some old rusty spurs, 'cause I can't get away from her fast enough. Well, I can't get away from her fast enough. And I can't get away from her fast enough.